In the 1990-91 season, Karl Malone attempts 13.1 free throws per game, the highest mark in the league and the highest of his career. Each trip to the line comes with the signature delay. Malone grips the ball, sets his feet, then delivers a 15-second internal monologue before the shot. The ritual, never officially disclosed, becomes part of his persona, a combination of breathing, muttering, and intense eye contact with the rim. Fans count aloud to mock the pacing, while referees occasionally issue warnings for delaying the game. In one 1998 matchup, Malone draws an official delay of game technical for dragging the process too long. Despite the theatrics, the process is effective. Malone finishes his career averaging 9.1 free throw attempts per game, third most in NBA history behind Chamberlain and Shaquille O'Neal. Opponents, frustrated by the drawn-out routine, occasionally leave sarcastic "Dear Carl" notes on his locker, parodying the emotional gravitas of each shot. The league never mandates a change, but players, coaches, and fans learn to live with Malone's clock-consuming habits. His deliberate approach reflects a broader era of post-heavy, half-court offense, one that prizes control over tempo. That priority shifts in the early 2000s as pace becomes the game's new obsession, and Dwight Howard's own struggle at the line adds a different wrinkle to the ritual. Gary Payton, the 9-time All-Defensive point guard, finishes his dribble routine, raises the ball, and licks his fingers. It's a small, consistent ritual he performs before nearly every free throw attempt across a 17-year NBA career. When asked, Payton explains it simply: better grip, better flick. The move is never officially sanctioned, but it becomes one of the league's most recognizable quirks of the early 2000s. Opponents notice it, fans joke about it, and his own teammates start dodging post-shot high fives to avoid the residue. Despite the superstition, the numbers stay middling. Payton shoots 72.9% from the line over his career, just under league average during most of his prime. Coaches never intervene, perhaps because the ritual stabilizes him mentally, especially during tense playoff runs with Seattle and later Miami. In Game 6 of the 2006 Finals, he knocks down 2 late free throws to help close out Dallas, fingers licked both times. The NBA never addresses it formally, but Payton's idiosyncrasy becomes one of the league's most enduring unspoken norms, part ritual, part rebellion. His finger lick routine stays untouched by rulebooks, but other players aren't so lucky. Kobe Bryant approaches the free throw line with a rhythm so specific it becomes ritual: 2 dribbles, a tug on his jersey, a spin of the ball, then a deep breath. He closes his eyes, locks in, exhales slowly, and shoots. This sequence, mimicked in every game over 2 decades, is his method of control designed to steady the moment and reset mentally. Bryant once explained that the breathing pattern came from watching Michael Jordan, who used a similar pause to gather himself before pressure shots. Kobe integrates it into a personal formula, honed over 1,400 career games and 8,378 total free throw attempts. The system works. He finishes his career shooting 81.9% from the line, with multiple seasons above 85%. In December 2005, against Dallas, he hits 18 straight in a single game, performance that underscores the discipline behind the routine. That night, he scores 62 points in just 3 quarters. The countdown isn't for show, it's for structure. The process keeps him consistent across 20 seasons, even as the game, the players, and his body evolve. The same deliberate sequence appears again during his final game in 2016, when he sinks 10 of 12 from the line and ends with 60 points, his last ritual, perfectly executed. Jeff Hornacek, a 6'3" shooting guard best known for his consistency with the Jazz, builds one of the league's most idiosyncratic free throw routines. Before every attempt, he pauses, steadies the ball, and gently rubs the side of his face 3 times. It's not superstition, the silent tribute to his children, Tyler, Ryan, and Abigail. The ritual begins as a quiet personal gesture, but by the late 90s, it's broadcast in every arena, dissected by commentators, and mimicked by fans in the stands. In the 1999-2000 season, Hornacek converts 87.7% of his free throws, ranking among the league's most reliable shooters. Because the motion is so precise and consistent, it gains a kind of mythos among teammates and opponents alike. Some call it a magic charm, while others admit to being thrown off by its rhythm. In arenas like the Delta Center, entire sections begin counting along with his strokes, turning the moment into a synchronized ritual. Hornacek never breaks the pattern, even during playoff pressure, and his calm routine stands in contrast to the chaotic energy of late-game possessions. The routine cements itself not only as effective, but as a small, visible bond between player and family, one that never misses a game. Hornacek's quiet tribute predates a wave of free throw quirks that are about to get a lot louder and a lot stranger. Shaquille O'Neal, a 7'1" center with 4 rings and 15 All-Star selections, ends his career with a free throw average of 52.7% dead last among all 1500 point scorers. Despite his dominance in the paint and nearly unstoppable drop steps, Shaq's free throw form remains a national curiosity. Long, slow stares at the rim, sudden shoulder twitches, 2 awkward bounces, and an unpredictable release. Opponents exploit it every chance they get. The hack a Shaq strategy, intentional fouling to force low-percentage free throws, takes root during his prime years in Los Angeles, eventually becoming a league-wide blueprint against big men who can't convert from the line. Across multiple teams and coaching staffs, everyone from Phil Jackson to Pat Riley attempts to intervene. Rick Barry, the Hall of Famer famous for his underhand, granny-style shot, personally offers to retrain Shaq's mechanics in 2000, but Shaq refuses, citing pride and rhythm. He experiments instead with what he calls the TNT method, short for touch. No thought, a routine designed to limit overthinking. The results remain inconsistent. In Game 2 of the 2006 NBA Finals, playing for Miami, O'Neal goes 1 of 9 from the stripe and airballs 2 attempts, contributing to a critical loss against Dallas. Because of these chronic struggles, the NBA subtly adapts. Teams draft mobile bigs, coaches stagger rotations to avoid late-game fouling, and broadcasters begin tracking intentional foul frequency per quarter. Gilbert Arenas, a 3-time All-Star and 80.3% free throw shooter over 11 NBA seasons, turns the charity stripe into a stage. Mid-routine, he often tosses the ball lightly to himself and talks out loud, offering running commentary as if narrating his own mechanics. He once claimed that free throws should be fun, explaining his offbeat rhythm as a way to stay loose under pressure. In one 2007 game, Arenas visibly mimed firing pistols with both hands after a made free throw, a reference to his Agent Zero persona. The league never officially sanctioned the behavior on court, but the gestures drew criticism as his antics escalated. By 2009, Arenas' showmanship turned serious. Following a locker room incident involving an actual firearm brought in as part of a dispute with teammate Javaris Crittenton, the league suspends him for the remainder of the season. The suspension ends a career peak that included a 29.3 points per game average in June 2005, along with over 9 free throw attempts per night. His playful on-court rituals are now inseparable from the off-court controversy that followed. Arenas' style, once dismissed as harmless flair, becomes cautionary precedent for league discipline around player conduct. The league's reaction to Arenas sets the tone for future scrutiny of free throw theatrics, especially as players like Jason Kidd and Caron Butler develop signature moves of their own. Jason Kidd, the 10-time All-Star point guard with over 1,900 made free throws, adopts one of the NBA's most quietly peculiar rituals. Before every shot, he pauses at the line, gathers himself, and blows a soft kiss toward the rim. The motion is subtle but unmistakable. His right hand lifts from the ball mid-routine, fingers flick outward like he's sending a message. According to Kidd, the kiss is a tribute to his then-wife Jimana, a gesture of connection during games spent on the road. It begins early in his career and stays with him through his prime. Even as his personal life shifts, In the February 2001 season with the Nets, Kidd posts an 87.9% free throw mark, his best year at the line, and the kiss is a constant presence during that Eastern Conference title run. After his divorce, the ritual doesn't disappear. If anything, it grows more noticeable. Teammates tease him with exaggerated air kisses during practice and dead ball situations. But Kidd never stops. He calls it a rhythm thing, part focus, part muscle memory. The act never breaks the rules, but it draws quiet attention from fans who wonder if it's still meant for anyone in particular. Kidd retires with a career free throw percentage of 78.5 and over 120 playoff games played, making the kiss one of the longest-running rituals in league history. The next generation of guards, including players like Chris Paul and Rajon Rondo, adopt more technical routines, but few inject emotion like Kidd. Caron Butler averages 84.7% from the free throw line in the August 2007 season, the best mark of his 14-year career. That year, he introduces a strange habit, miming the act of chewing a straw every time he steps to the line. Before games, Butler actually chews on a real plastic straw as part of his pre-game routine. Once play begins, the straw disappears, but the chewing motion continues. He says it keeps him calm, helps him focus, and feels automatic after years of repetition. At one point, Wizards teammates say they don't even notice it anymore, it's just part of Caron. In 2010, the NBA officially banned straws on the bench and in uniform after players begin imitating Butler and leaving them scattered near courtside seats. Butler stops bringing real straws to the arena, but continues the chewing motion without one, telling reporters it's now muscle memory. Despite the ban, the gesture persists in every game he plays, including during free throws where he often hits both shots with no visible nerves. Commentators joke that the imaginary straw never misses. The league moves on, but Butler's invisible tick becomes one of the most oddly consistent rituals in modern NBA memory. The rulebook tightens again that same year, but for another kind of violation entirely, as the league cracks down on drawn-out routines like Gilbert Arenas'. Dwight Howard enters the league in 2004 as a 6'10", 265-pound physical outlier, but by his third season, teams begin targeting his glaring weakness, free throws. Across 18 seasons, Howard averages just 56.5% from the line, bottom tier for any high-usage center. By 2016, his playoff free throw average dips to 39%, prompting opponents to intentionally foul him in late-game situations. The strategy, known as Hack a Dwight, leads to dragged-out quarters and awkward pauses as he repeatedly heads to the stripe. Howard tries a new pre-shot routine nearly every season. At one point, he adopts a three-part rhythm: bounce the ball twice, swing it side to side, then flick the wrists with the near snap. The constant in all of them, though, is his hyperactive foot shuffle, shifting weight, sliding heels, and tapping toes just before release. Coaches and trainers suggest grounding his base, but Howard insists the motion helps with rhythm and focus. It doesn't help with accuracy. By the 2016 postseason, the ritual becomes so exaggerated that broadcasters begin timing his movement instead of the shot itself. League analysts argue that the frequency of Howard's routine changes disrupts his muscle memory more than it helps. But Howard continues experimenting, stubbornly resisting a more simplified approach. By the end of his prime, defenders welcome him at the line, and Hack a Dwight becomes part of playoff strategy. The league begins considering changes to reduce intentional fouls, and Howard isn't the only catalyst. DeAndre Jordan, a 6'11" center drafted in 2008, struggles with free throws from the start. Over a 15-year career, he shoots just 47.5% from the line, one of the lowest rates among high-usage bigs in league history. His pre-shot routine, staring intently at the ball for 5 full seconds, is meant to calm his nerves and simulate focus, something he refers to as getting into the zone. But instead of providing clarity, the pause becomes a spectacle. Opposing fans notice quickly and begin chanting countdowns during his attempts, treating every trip to the line like a ticking time bomb. The pressure builds into critical games. In a 2014 matchup against Oklahoma City, Jordan misses 9 of 11 free throws, finishing the night at 18% from the stripe. Coaches try subtle tweaks to his stance and grip, but none stick. The pause routine remains unchanged, even as his playoff minutes get slashed in late-game situations. Eventually, the hack-a-Jordan strategy becomes so common that teams start fouling him off the ball before he even touches it. Jordan's frozen glare routine becomes less a focus ritual and more a league-wide green light for intentional fouls, and it forces rule conversations that bleed into Dwight Howard's era. Nick Van Exel, a 6'1" left-handed guard with a jittery handle and deep range, develops one of the NBA's most quietly puzzling free throw routines in the mid-1990s. Before each attempt, he steps to the line, sets his feet, and briefly flashes a peace sign with his right hand. No bounce, no look around, just 2 fingers to the side and into the shooting motion. When pressed by reporters, Van Exel claims the signal helps him stay calm, a moment of mindfulness during tense possessions. The numbers back it up. Over 13 seasons, he finishes with a 79.4% free throw average, peaking at 85.2% in 1996 while with the Lakers. The routine puzzles teammates, who admit they never asked for a real explanation. Some assume it's a tribute or superstition, others just chalk it up to Nick being Nick. On playgrounds in Dallas and Cincinnati, kids start mimicking the motion in pick-up games, flashing peace signs before bricks and swishes alike. The league never comments on the gesture, likely because it causes no delay and no controversy. For Van Exel, it becomes a subtle part of his identity, a ritual as steady as his 4.6 assists per game across more than 880 appearances. He leaves the league in 2006, but the peace sign outlasts him and leads into the next generation of personal free throw quirks.
If you made it this far, you're one of the real ones. At B-Ball Decoded, we don't sugarcoat the past. We break it down, team by team, draft by draft, mistake by mistake. If you love deep NBA stories, critical breakdowns, and raw basketball truth, hit that like button, subscribe for more team deep dives, and ring the notification bell so you don't miss what's coming next.